One of the things that amazed me that I was reading about you is that you said that when you started playing guitar that you didn't find it easy. You found it hard. Like it didn't come natural to you. When I listen to your playing, I'm like, how is that possible when you just make it look so easy?
Well, the reason why it's possible is because I envisioned myself doing it that way. So when I was younger, long before I started playing the guitar, music itself seemed very natural to me. I kind of knew the language of music, writing it and composing. And I was very fascinated with music theory and just the whole composition process. But
Mm-hmm.
then the guitar came into the picture, and I started playing it when I was 12. And I think when you're starting out at anything, like I say, you got to go through that academic stage. You
Yeah.
know, so I mean, I love the idea of the guitar. Once I heard Jimmy Page and all those great guitar players of the 70s, I had to play. And I had to work hard. Even people who it comes natural to have to go through working hard. But I loved it. And I only say that I wasn't natural at playing the instrument because I was also teaching at the time. I would give guitar lessons and I would have students that were very natural. And it was very obvious to me that they could learn something very quick and they had just a different kind of finesse.
Yeah.
So I had to work really hard, but I loved it. I just I envisioned myself in my mind's eye being a performer and playing elegantly, and I wanted it to look effortless. I wanted it to be uplifting. I wanted it, so this you can do this when you're a kid. You use your imagination and your ability to visualize is your greatest manifestational tool.
Yeah.
Like so, for instance, let's say you're skiing and you've become very comfortable on black diamonds,
Right.
and you're like, give me those moguls, and you're just floating over on top of them. But there's a free form slalom contest, and you want to join it, but you really don't have the chops for it.
Right.
So the way that you get the chops, and this is the answer to your question, you visualize yourself going down that mountain amazingly. You create a picture, and you not only see yourself doing it excellently, beautifully, elegantly, but you imagine what it would feel like to be doing it. And this is what we were talking about before, that feeling.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, okay, I'm here and I'm really enjoying this and I have that feeling, but now I want to go to here. So I visualize myself already doing it. And then the most important element is also feeling what it would actually feel like to be doing it. And then this little miracle happens. The guy that's down here just it just starts happening. And then you're here and
Yeah.
you're in that state of freedom again. Now you want to go higher. So visualize it. So this never ends, by the way.
Yeah.
Your ability to evolve and your desire for more.
I know,
You ever
it's
notice
never
that?
ending, isn't it? Like you say, you never enjoy the moment as well. It's kind of like you get to that part and then you're like, right, what next?
Right. And the when you do enjoy the moment is those elusive periods where you're embracing the level that you're at
Yeah.
and just going there.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I develop my guitar playing. And that's what I do to this day. You
You
know,
still do it. Okay.
yeah, on the new record in Violet, or on there's songs like Candle Power that has a technique that I envisioned years and years before I started working on it because it was so difficult. And then like the song Teeth of the Hydra with that big guitar,
Yeah.
that was a chiseled vision. before it became a reality. That's how it works, you know. And I navigated to it beautifully because I visualized it.
But did you
And I wanted
struggle? Did you struggle with those parts, for those particular ones that you were talking about? You visualized how you wanted it to sound, and then you had to somehow put that in the guitar, make the guitar make that sound. Did you
yeah,
struggle
it
with
was.
it? Did it take a
Well,
long time?
struggle is an interesting word.
Played
I
around
had
a
to,
lot.
yeah, I had to work through it. I
Yeah.
mean, do you struggle when you're going from intermediate runs to moguls? Yeah, you take your lumps,
Yeah.
you know, but the vision keeps you moving forward.
Hmm.
And that's what happened with the Hydra. I mean, it's like, can you imagine a gigantic Rubik's cube,
Yeah.
you know? So you gotta, it's, I don't, I wouldn't use the word struggle, but you navigate.
Yeah.
You got to push. You got to push, and then finally a color matches, and you go, "Ah, yay!" You know, it's very important to celebrate even the tiniest of little victories in
Mm.
your mind,
Yeah.
because this is the engine of creation, because it gives you the sense of fulfillment.
Hmm.
It gives you the sense of accomplishment, of a dignity, because you're using your creativity and it's working. So, you know, when I would be able to do one Hydra Rubik's cube, you know, I would congratulate myself. All right, good, you got it, nice. Now
Yeah.
keep going, and then you go through nope, nope, well maybe, and then you know the process
Yeah.
until it just comes together. But I am I'm sure that most guitar players that I know, with even less than half of the technique I have, could play that Hydra if they had my desire to do it, because that's all you need, the desire. And then you start doing what seems impossible. And
Yeah.
once you start, it doesn't seem impossible anymore because you're doing it, you know? So then it's little piece at a time, little piece at a time. And that's why people would look at something like the Hydra and go, oh my God, he's from another planet.
Yeah.
No, you could do it if you just sat and decided you wanted to do it and just went slowly, slowly, slowly. And that's what it is. But the key, you have the final vision already, sort of. You know, you're shaping something, you're moving towards it. And sometimes it happens real quick.
Yeah, I
Like
was
the
going to
Gash.
ask you that. Like, how do you spend hours on this? Are you a bit of a perfectionist with it?
Well, you know, you get it to the point where it feels right to you,
Yeah.
you know, and it doesn't have to feel right to anybody else but you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And yeah, and that's how the Gash record, that came really quick. I mean, there was no messing around with that. And I've done this through the years, where I would get an inspiration and a vision for something, and I just stop everything I'm doing and just do it.
Yeah.
And usually those things go pretty quick. And this Gash record, maybe it took a week, you know, to record the whole thing. It was, I put a click track down and I improvise a bass part, and
Right.
then I put the guitars on it. And then I was working with this incredible drummer at the time, Tiffany Smith, and she was just fantastic. She had all these perfect rock sensibilities, you know. And then, like I said, I was going to try to sing it, and then I hated the way I sounded. I'm not right at all. And then John was there, Gash was there, and all of a sudden I discovered he could sing, and he did this. I just put him in the studio, and he just blasted that out. So, like, within no time, that record was completed, and then we had something to listen to on our motorcycles.
Brilliant. That's so cool. And how did the Nikki Sixx song come about then? How did you meet Nikki?
Well, I had known Nicky. You know, we'd been friends back in the 80s. And, you know, he called one time and said, let's get together and write a song. I
Okay.
said, yeah. So he came by. This was many years ago. And we wrote that song, and I demoed it. and put Gash on it. And because I only had 8 pieces of music with Gash before he died.
Yeah.
So that was one of them.
So you're not going to tour this, are you, with a different singer or do anything like that? No.
Well, you never know what can happen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've never made an accessible record. This is very accessible.
Yeah.
But it's also very dated. So
you could maybe have guest singers, get Nikki, not Nikki Sixes, but sings, but you could have a few guest artists on it maybe.
Well, here's the thing. For a record like this to become popular enough for me to consider actually putting something together for it, it has to far transcend the audience of Steve Vai. Steve Vai has this beautiful, lovely audience, but it's limited. It's like the kind of thing I do is it has a very proud and supportive audience, but it's not on the radio. I'm not selling out arenas, this kind of thing. If this record, the Gash record, if I was to be tempted to actually do something like a tour or put a band together, it would have to far transcend who the hell Steve Vai is. And if that was the case, its success would be based on the merit of 2 things. 1, the quality of the songs, mm-hmm. and 2, Gash's vocal. And I think both of those elements are in place. But Steve Vai would be a second. No one would care. That audience that wants to rock out in an arena to the Gash record want him.
Yeah.
And he's irreplaceable. Trust me. Yeah. I've worked with the greatest, most extroverted singers, rock lead singers ever. Frank Zappa, Graham Bonnet, David Lee Roth, David Coverdale. I mean, the list goes on. And I know that lead singer DNA. And Gash had it in spades. He had so much of that. I'm absolutely confident that if he would have lived and if we would have decided to make this a focus, he would have filled that slot beautifully, and you would have loved him because nobody we knew didn't love him.
Yeah.
That's the kind of guy he was. You loved him. He was crazy, fun. There's no way to explain him.
It's tragic that he's not here to enjoy the success of it,
Yeah.
Yes.
But if I was to do something, there would have to be a lead singer replacement that had all of those things. And trust me, I could count on one crippled hand the amount of people that are living that I think could do something like that. It wouldn't matter if I was in the band or not, but I don't think I would do something like that right now.
No, sure. So, something that I saw of you recently was the kids in Barcelona that joined you on stage. Well, let me rephrase that. He didn't join you on stage. You went off stage, gave him your guitar to play the solo, and he just literally owned it and literally walked up to stage and was like, you were like, okay.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
That kid owned it. I loved it.
I love that too. I was like, look at that confidence.
Well, it was funny because I was on my way to the gig and I got into a cab, this cab, or it's a driver. Cars were hired for us to pick us up.
Yeah.
And there was 3 cars and the one guy's going, over here, Steve, you got to come in here. It's all right. And I get in this guy's car and he immediately starts showing me these videos of his son playing.
Yeah.
For the love of God, and he was good, he was actually connecting. And I was like, wow. So, and you could easily recognize this kid because he had this big, giant corkscrew hairdo. And so I was doing the gig that night and I'm looking out into the audience and I see him and his dad. So I thought, I know what I'm going to do. And I went down and I said, I thought in my mind, I know this kid could play. Let's see what happens. And I handed him the guitar, and like you say, he owned it. He became a rock star in that moment.
He wasn't scared at all, was he? He just literally was like, oh, all right, then, my turn now. Come on, then.
Get out of the way, Vi.
Yeah. I
Come
love
on,
it.
Grandpa.
You kind of had to get up on the stage and was like, okay, give it
Yeah,
back now.
I almost thought I needed a bullwhip.
That was brilliant. It's so cool that you did that as well. Like, what an experience for him. But I love that you give back because you've done, you've done the lesson stuff that you do with the alien secrets things. And then you've got your Vi Academy, which looks so cool. And who have you got playing at the Vi Academy next year? So you've got Nuno Betancourt.
Oh, that happened already.
Has that happened, that one? When was
Yeah,
it?
that was a couple of months ago. It was in Vegas. It was a great camp. And I had Nuno and Billy Sheehan and Yvette Young, Larry Mitchell, Tommy Emmanuel. It was great. These camps, there was more, but I can't remember right now. But the camps are fantastic.
Oh, they look so cool. Actually, funnily enough, I was with Nuno recently in Boston, and he showed me how to play More Than Words
Really?
in the bedroom where it was created. Yeah.
Really?
I took him back we were doing some filming, and I took him back to his childhood home, and he was very emotional about it. It was incredible. And we went into the room, and he was like, this is where I wrote Porno Graffiti. And so, yeah.
Amazing. That's so cool.
I know, it was super cool.
It was a fun hang, huh?
Oh God, totally. Yeah, he was driving me all around the town and stuff. Because obviously you were in Boston for a while, weren't you, at Berkeley?
Yeah, yeah. I love Boston.
How long were you there for?
Probably about a year and a half.
Because I think your accent sounds like a Boston accent.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I might have picked some up, but when I start talking with friends of mine from New York, I start talking like this.
Yeah, that's more New York.
Yeah, that's more New York.
Italian New York, yeah.
Italian New York. And by the way, Gash was Italian New York.
Was he?
Heavy Italian New York, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you had like a real connection then in that sense.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow. It's incredible. So when you think about everyone that you've worked with, and you mentioned quite a lot, some of them like Zappa and David Lee Roth, and I mean it's a long list of incredible artists. Is there, I mean, you probably get asked this all the time, but is there kind of anyone that you would like to work with that you haven't?
Yeah.
No.
I'm happy to work with, there's a lot of people, but I think if I was going to want to work with somebody, I'd want somebody extraordinarily creative that may not necessarily be another musician. Like if I was to take a very creative film director or story writer or scientist, if you got together with a creative scientist and picked their brain while you were writing songs, you write a song with them, I would be interested to see how that affected what I wrote. If it's a scientist or anybody that has a creative thinking mind in any field, maybe even other than music, I would like to work with, because then you're bringing something really different to the table.
Only you would answer that. Only you. I love it. Yeah, and why not? Why not? You do what you do, and you want to keep pushing boundaries, don't you? Otherwise, it gets boring for you.
Well, it keeps it interesting when you're working with other creative people. It's just, I don't do it very often. I don't collaborate.
No.
With my solo music, it's been my goal as a solo artist to create a catalog of music that's undiluted by the contribution of anybody else. And that's not for any other reason except I can and I want to, because I want it to be undiluted. I just want it to be my interests, my musical quirkiness, my intensity, my joyfulness, all of these things. And within that scope, I love working with talented people who can get the best out of me. But few times I've actually collaborated with people on my solo work. I'm a great collaborator outside of my solo music, like with Dave Roth or Whitesnake or many people. I have a tendency to cite old stuff because that's what some people know. But, but when it comes to the solo work, it's too precious to me.
Yeah, and it should be.
Why not? I'm allowed to love what I do.
Oh, you are, and we all love it too. You're doing something right. So, listen, thank you so much for coming on the show. Next time, we're going to do this little dance in person.
You got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I know you're on holiday and stuff, so thank you for taking the time to chat to me. And the record is amazing, so I'm pleased that you put it out, and I think it's a lovely tribute to Gash as well. So.
Thank you so much. And I hope to see you. I'm going to be touring Europe in, well, not really. I shouldn't be announcing this, but hopefully.
When is it? Because the interview will go out a bit later. So when are you announcing the tour?
I'm going to be doing Eastern Europe and some Western Europe in late March, April, and May.
Okay. Brilliant. Well,
the show is so much more refined right now. I'm playing the Hydra and it's fantastic. So come on out if you can.
Yeah, definitely. Would love to. That would be great. Well, take care. Have a lovely Christmas, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.